Hello.
It's great to have you all with us. Now, I feel a bit silly. I feel a bit silly introducing Thierry Henry because, well, you know who Thierry Henry is. He's one of the best football players of all time. So,
A long time ago.
a long time ago, but a legend. A
Thank you.
legend. But do you know something kind of very interesting? Because despite all those tough challenges on the pitch, the toughest challenges for Thierry have been off the pitch. They have been combating online hate and making an impact. And this is super, super important. This is probably one of the most important discussions I think we're going to have here, and this is what we're going to be looking at now. But before we do, Thierry, okay, I've been chatting to people here. Now, the World Cup. Saudi Arabia just won hearts and minds. What's it going to take for them to win the next cup?
Well, win more games. You know, it was incredible to see them beating Argentina. Obviously, we don't know at the time they were going on to go and win the World Cup. But again, yesterday Al Hilal reached the final of the World Cup. Yeah, I mean it's outstanding, beating Flamengo, which is something not easy to do. So we don't know who they're going to meet. It looks like it might be Real Madrid, so it will be a great game for their history. But what Saudi Arabia did, it's not the first time. I've seen it before, Saudi Arabia performing. Hopefully next time they can come out of the group stage and do more. But Al Hilal is showing that you guys can play.
You can play. So we're now going to take a seat and we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of our discussion.
Am I here?
March 2021, Thierry.
Already?
That's when you quit social media. And I'm going to quote what Thierry put on his post. He said, "The sheer volume of racism, bullying, and resulting mental torture to individuals is too toxic to ignore." Now, I know you faced racism. I have faced racism. I'm sure many of you here have too. It is mental torture. But what was the trigger that meant that you went, "That's it, I'm quitting"?
What was the trigger? I was sitting at home and things were happening with the English players getting abused and so many players, and we still see it with Vinicius Jr. lately on the field and through social media, and other people, by the way, not only athletes. Let's put it there also. You know, people get abused regularly. It's not because you're not known that it doesn't happen to you, right? But we're going to talk about my game, which is football. I was like, what can I do? You know, I can do, in my mind I was like, I can do very little. Am I in a position to change the rules of social media? Am I in a parliament I'm not. So I was like, what can I do to have an impact and where people can go, oh, something is happening. So I said I'm going to come off social media because I don't think it was a safe place. A lot of the abusing and bullying and racism was happening on it. So I said to myself, you know what, if I come off it, maybe people are going to ask questions and ask me questions and talk about it and raise a point and make people aware that it shouldn't be happening. Can we find out who is behind those accounts? Can it be a safe place? We all know it's a good tool for a lot of people, but human beings tend all the time to push it to be vicious. You know, we never kind of use something just for what it is for, really. We always go further. And everyone is kind of brave behind a fake account, fake name, which I also understand that it can be a good point sometimes to resolve something that's happening in your country. If you don't want to get known and you're in a tough country, you use an alias to make sure that you can let people know what's happening in your country. I get that. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to come off social media and people are going to ask me about it. Hopefully people will come along and it will raise awareness. It worked for a little while, I will be honest with you, because people responded in the UK. But then people went back on it. I'm still not on it.
How is that?
It's great. It's great. It makes me laugh when I see people in the morning just going like this all morning and check what they missed on whatever feed they're on. I don't have that. I don't need it. Because I mean, we were talking about it behind. You also suffered of it. Everybody.
Yeah.
I also have kids, so I think everyone should relate. We're all parents. You don't want your kid to be talking to I don't know who that can have an impact on them. Who is educating who? What's happening there? Can we know at least who is behind it? You know, we're all suffering from it, and directly or indirectly. So yeah.
Yeah, so you came off social media, but then you've become a captain in Game of Our Lives. Now, this is something I advise you to check out because it's a really amazing platform. It's a platform where we can all help. It's a platform that you've been helping build up. Can you tell us a little bit about it, the impact you have made, and where you're wanting to go?
I remember calling my sponsor and asking them if they were going to help come along, because you can't achieve anything alone. I always used to say that on the field, you don't win stuff alone. You need to
be a team.
You need to be a team, and that's very important. So I called my sponsor and I was like, what are you going to do? This is what I was trying to do at that point. What are you going to do? And they came up with the idea of Game of Our Lives goal. I didn't know about it, I will be honest. I didn't know about it, but not a lot of people knew about it. As you said, this is a place where you have volunteers that can be on the other side, answer the phone call when you're getting bullied and you don't know who you can talk to, and it's a safe place where you can actually talk to people. Like I said, in the UK, we were talking about it behind. In the UK, you have 2,000 volunteers that dedicated hours to be there to speak to people that might do something. We're talking about suicide, we're talking about depression, we're talking about who do you talk to? You have a lot of people, you have 50% of the world sports fans that are willing to help, but they don't know where and how, and I didn't know too. I didn't know where to go. So through the help of my sponsors, we find obviously goal, and is 2,000 volunteers great all over the UK? Maybe not, but it's a start. It's a start for people being on the other side of the line to try to help any kid or any grown-up that don't know who to talk to. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger when you don't feel well.
But and I don't know what's been happening in the region, but in the UK, there's been many tragic stories of kids committing suicide because of the online hate that they're receiving. And Jane, what kind of calls then do you receive? What kind of advice do they get given?
Any advice? Sometimes you just, I've been there, I'm sure you've been there. Sometimes you just want to be heard and seen and noticed. And it doesn't always happen. And on social media, you're exposed. You're exposed because sometimes you want to do something good, you want to sing because you want to sing, but then what comes after you not singing well maybe, or you think you're singing well, or whatever it is, people can be ruthless, and the impact that it has on people, the sheer pressure that you have sometimes of being successful, or whatever it is, and you're not, suddenly people are judging you, you see how it can have an impact on people that are supposed to be strong. It affected me, and I'm sure a lot of people will see me as, oh my God, he's really strong, I'm sure nothing can affect him. No, what it does.
How did it affect you?
Well, it does because, I'm a human being, I have a heart, I have kids. So whether if it's through me or through my kids, it will affect me. It will affect me. I'm a human being, I'm vulnerable. And I'm not scared to say it. I used to not understand that vulnerability was strength. I thought it was, being weak, especially in my game. You show that you're vulnerable. It's almost feel like you expose yourself to something that's a bit scary to talk about, it's a bit taboo, not anymore. So when you open yourself to the world on whatever you're doing and people are judging you, we all grow up with, you don't judge people, only God can judge you. But don't we all kind of judge at times and try to, make fun of someone when you shouldn't? The impact that he has on that person can be massive. So when you know you can have a platform where you can go and talk to someone, and like I said, sometimes talking to a stranger can help more than talking to someone that knows you because of whatever values that you have at home or whatever, you know, my dad or my mom will tell me, no, you can't show witnesses or whatever. I'm going too much into details here, but that's what it is for.
And you were saying that, you know, there are so many players who want to be involved, they don't know how to get involved, but you have got quite an impressive team of people on board. So tell us who's involved.
Yeah, you have Winnie Harlow and a lot of ex-players, still some players active, but I want to really emphasize on the volunteers. Because doing it for free, doing it just for the sake of helping someone that's struggling, not a lot of people do that. You know, show attention, show compassion, show empathy, sympathy for people that you don't even know on the other side of the line. So for me, those volunteers are real heroes. Sometimes people refer to me as a hero and I don't like it. I don't really like it because the only thing I did is kick a ball. I didn't save the life of nobody. So that's what I'm trying to do now. That's a real battle. So, you know, I can understand that as an athlete, you give people a lot of emotions. But hero is a big word. Volunteers, people that are doing what they're doing with goal. What we're trying to do right now, yes, you can say that those guys are heroes and plenty more in the world, don't get me wrong, because since we're talking about that, I'm talking about that, right? So, yeah, this is why I wanted to give a lot of credit to those guys. I don't have all the names. Obviously, it will be tough to remember them all, but what they're doing is just being there. That's all you need sometimes when you're struggling. You need someone to be there.
And you've got 2,000 volunteers. What's the ambition?
UK? Well, it's a tough one. The goal of goal. Yeah. It's weird to say that, is to reach 1 billion around the world. But you know, if you don't dream, if you don't believe that it can happen and raise awareness, you know, as you said, in the UK, too many kids are committing suicide for whatever type of bullying or hate or you know, we tend as human beings sometimes, and we were talking about it earlier also, you can receive maybe, I don't know how many messages that are good, but as human beings, we tend to concentrate on the bad one, you know, and I just think that social media at times is not a safe place. Can it be a safe place? That's all we're asking.
Yeah, and so many of us have children in the room, and I imagine these are questions we're all asking. And you know, Thierry and I were also discussing the fact that you can download music, sometimes even by mistake, and you get blocked.
Quickly.
But then quickly blocked. But those people who are spreading hate speech can seem to do so without many limitations. Let's be blunt about it. What conclusions do you draw from that?
Well, a lot of those platforms create money through hate, so it doesn't matter what comes out on it. But if they know that they can get reprimanded, that they can get sued, obviously by an artist or whatever, they create the algorithm that they need to create. But when it's to create an algorithm that they don't see fit, or maybe nobody hold them accountable on anything, then they don't particularly care, because people are on it. Doesn't matter what happens on it, you're on it, so for them it's good. So I just think that sometimes people don't realize the impact that it can have on others. I mean, a lot of people use it, I don't anymore, and I'm happy about it. But it's just, at times I wonder why people are on it. Not everybody, because like I said, it is a good tool.
It has massive potential for good.
It depends who is behind it.
Yeah.
But I go back to what I said at the beginning. Can we find out who is behind it? Look, if I want to open a bank account or buy a house, they're asking me how many teeth I still have, what I have for breakfast. You have to fill, I don't know how many papers.
Yeah.
But you can open an Instagram account just like that. I don't even know your age, I don't even know your name, I don't know anything. And you can do that and abuse people and say whatever you want to say on it. How is that normal?
Yeah. But the guardrails are beginning
Yeah.
to be put up. So there is some good news. Now, we're looking back again to the UK, but there is new legislation in the UK that can hold tech giants accountable. And, you know, Thierry was involved in this. And, you know, he may not want to be a hero. I'm not going to say that you're a hero, but you have made an impact. What kind of impact do you think this legislation is going to have?
Well, we will see. First and foremost, it's a start because people are going to have to respond to what's happening on there and give clear answers. But like I said, I don't see myself as that. I see myself as just being part of a team that's trying to achieve something. That's about it for me. But it is a giant step on where it should, how it should be really. Because if you do something in, like if I say something to someone walking or do something, people are going to ask me, why did you say that? Why would you speak like that? Or, you know, but there you can do it. So all we want is a bit of clarity and them to answer when they have to answer.
Because I was just wondering, you know, when we're having this conversation now, as I was saying, I've faced online hate. Many of my friends are. I was just wondering, how many people here have too? Have you been in this sort of situation? Have you known where to go? And when we look now at the next stages, these amazing kind of new realms we're going to leap into, like the metaverse, how secure and happy do you feel about that in terms of your children, in terms of my children, in terms of your children? How do you feel about these new technologies?
This is exactly why I also got involved, you know, when I asked myself that question. You know, that's what I said, everyone can relate, because hopefully everyone have kids in the room and they're the future, right? So can it be a good one? Can it be a good one for them and a safe one? It's always tough. You're always going to have stuff that are a bit vicious, stuff that people are going to use not for the right reason. But can we make it as safe as it can be? It is scary. There are some stuff out there that I still don't comprehend or understand, and that's why you have all the great brains that are working on that, and they're doing a great job. But can it just be a safe place, like I said to you? Because our kids live on that. However you want to look at it, you can stop it. We all do it. No more iPad today. You know, they always try to find a way to find the code and reopen it or hide somewhere.
They always do.
They do. I don't even know my own code anymore because they change it. You know, so it is what it is. That's how the world is moving, and you have to accept it. But can it just be a safe place? I know I'm repeating myself, but it's very important because you don't know who's on the other side. You don't know where is it going. You really don't know. Well, I don't personally.
This is an important message to drive home. And you as a parent, do you know what your kids are up to online? Do you see?
I think I do. You check, but one thing leads to another, and you know, it's a tough one. I can't be sitting here telling you I know. No, you can kind of know, but and what is it? What is the content also?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the content. Sometimes I go and see what they're looking at. Maybe I'm too old, or maybe I don't understand, but I'm not too sure it's great education.
Yeah. It's often very condensed, not necessarily factually accurate.
No. The thing is, we were talking about it, is that the new generation coming will have to deal with that, and it's already here, by the way, and it's going further. But having infos and living something, it's two different things. You know, I always battle with my kids. They always tell me that they know. I'm like, no, you don't. And they always tell me, what, I've seen it somewhere. I said, yeah, but I lived it. Okay, just listen to me. I know I don't look like I know because I'm not an influencer, or I'm not on it, but some stuff I know because I lived it. You guys have more info than I had when I was younger, that's for sure. You know, but it is what it is. It's tough to compete with a screen, with proximity. It's straight away there. You know, they see stuff, they don't understand the how, but they saw it, or they have an information, so they think that they know it.
And is there an irony? And this is, so you know what I'm going to ask you? Because this is something that's been going around in my mind. I don't know if it has in yours too. But is there an irony for you to be combating online hate, worrying about what your kids are up to, but not being part of that world? Do you have an anonymous account?
No, I don't. But I'm with my team combating it, not alone. And I don't want, I'm old school on a lot of stuff. I just don't want to depend on, and I will be honest with you, I'm losing a lot of deals sometimes and a lot of stuff that could happen or whatever, but I don't want to be dictated by that, and also people that think that they're brave that can abuse you on it. I don't see the point of it. But as a team, together, yes, I feel strong, a bit more strong if we're together.
Yeah, so let's take a step back when you're talking about being a team. Because when members of your team were facing hate on the football pitch, and this is something I often think because the hate that we see in football is also translated online as well. But how did you help your players?
Whether you're a player, I mean, in my time, it wasn't so much because
it's got worse?
It wasn't around. I'm not that old, but it wasn't around. You used to hear it in the stand, direct, not through social media. Now, the only thing you try to say to those players, don't look at it, be careful, don't let the little one or the little thing or the 5 messages affect your day. But if you're a human being, you want to please everyone in a way. You were like, why so much hate? What did I do? What did I do wrong? I will take the case of Vinicius Jr. right now. I don't, wherever he goes, whatever he does, the guy is getting abused. I don't know why, and it's just like a trend. It's like it's becoming normal. Like it's just crazy. But what you do, you try to speak, you try to help. I'm there if you want. My way was, if you don't really like it, why are you on it?
Yeah. Do you think, though, then, from what you're saying, that what's happening online has enabled to magnify thoughts, words, racism that was in a minority and bring it into the mainstream?
Well, you're a bit braver, right, when people can't see you. I will call those people cowards. Sorry to use that name, that word. Sorry, but yeah, you're a bit braver when people don't know. It's kind. People find it funny. I don't know what it is exactly that is their thing when they think what they're doing that, or I don't know what they're trying to achieve. Everything again. I wouldn't like to be right now in the head and the body of Vinicius Jr. It must be so tough, and I know I'm repeating because it's the story at the minute in our sport. It must be so difficult. I hope he's having all the help in the world, on social media or on the field, but he has to go out there and confront, like, by the way, everybody. But when sometimes you're a public figure, it can sometimes also be a tiny bit more trickery.
Yeah, because you're so exposed.
You're exposed, you have to perform, and people will judge you, and it's not an excuse, it's not better or worse, but it seems like now people are using that to destabilize the guy. He's a human being. I don't really understand it, but nobody is doing anything about it. It's happening, and that's about it. That's why and he hopefully is having the help that he needs. What about the people that don't know where to go? That's what goal is important. When you know you have a platform where you can call and express yourself and talk and share whatever is happening for you, it's very important. This is why also I go back to the beginning. I came out and I said to myself, if I come out of it, it will raise awareness because of what I've done in the past. And some people don't have that voice, although they suffered way more. They don't have that voice. They don't know where to go. They don't have that impact. So it's important that we can, in a way, with the team, with me, and whatever, try to have that impact to speak for others, if I can say that with all humility.
Yeah, and speaking places like here. But in terms of making that impact, so you have made an impact. You made an impact when you came off social media. And there was a kind of boycott of social media that followed that. But then that ended. If you could now implement, let's say, 3 things to try and make the online world a safer place, what would you be advocating?
For me, it won't have to be 3 things. It's just can people on the other side be punished, and can we know who it is? And can we, well, I arrive actually to 3, and can we create algorithms that I'm not going to read what I'm reading? Just, if you can block a video, and the amount of people that are on social media, when that video starts on someone doing, I don't know, working with a personal trainer, and I know it happened to a friend of mine, suddenly they shut the session just because he was playing something that he shouldn't be playing at the back. How did you know?
Yeah.
So if you know that, surely you can create algorithm to make sure that that doesn't arrive on my screen or wherever, however you say it. So those are the 3 things for me. Punishment, who is on the other side, and algorithms.
Yeah. End the anonymity. And I think that would be one of the really important first steps. So this conference is all about taking a leap into the future. I'd like us to go down a little path together.
All right.
Let's walk down a path 50 years into the future. Are you able to imagine what that will be like? Our kids will be older. What kind of world will they be living in?
That's a tough one. I don't know. In all fairness, maybe it will be a robot asking me questions.
Well, there is already.
You'll lose your job. No, I really don't know. It's a tough one. I like where the world is going, because you need to evolve. Things will happen. Like when I was young, if you told me I was going to have a phone and walk with it, I know it sounds scary for a lot. I mean, I see some young people, but to have a phone, to be able to walk with it. I remember when you have to dial the number, and if you made a mistake, you have to go back again. I mean, it was
Have you ever given your kids an old-fashioned phone and said, "Can you dial a number?" It's the most hilarious experience.
No, listen, they think I'm from another planet already, so I can't even sometimes understand. But if we, it's very difficult for me to go that far, not knowing exactly. We hear about AI, we hear, obviously not hear about it, it's already here. We're hearing about seeing a lot of virtual reality and where the world is going. I don't know too much that world. I don't work in that world, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But I just still hope that we can still give our kids some good values along the way, and not letting always technology, which understand me well, it's vital. But it can't be ahead of also human being active, using their hands, and being exposed sometimes to, I grew up with with shut up and do, shut up and play, don't talk to me, that's how it is. You don't have no explanation. So you're exposed to, you have to perform, you have to do something. That new generation is assisted. Way too much for me. It has to go back to a certain balance. You need assistance, as we already talked about. But they also need to bring something on the table for us to be able to cook.
Yeah. So, and as we end our session, because this was a session about combating online hate, I want you to tell us your best bit of advice for anyone who is in that situation.
It's simple for me. Well, it's simple. I say it's simple, and it took me 40 years to talk about my emotions, about my problem, because I thought it was weakness, because I thought I will be soft or seen as soft because I cry, or because I'm hurt, or because of whatever it is. Just talk, open up, talk to people, let them know, share. And it's already not that easy, even if you do that. But if you keep stuff for yourself, it's not going to end well, unfortunately. So if you can open up, talk, That's the best advice I can give, and everybody have their own struggle, their own problem, but vulnerability is definitely a strength, never a weakness.
Vulnerability is strength, never a weakness. Now, they're very powerful words to end with. Thank you so much, Thierry, for giving us your time.
Thank you.
It's been a real privilege to have this conversation and a privilege to share it with you all.
Merci.
Merci.